Hi, Liles.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fine.
Hi, Cliff.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good evening, Cliff. How you doing?
Real good.
I got a question for you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. I have a Model 30.
Mhm.
It's got 6 tubes in it, which is normal. But the tube sockets are like the tube sockets on a Model 20. In other words, it's a brass sleeve that sticks up, as
Yep.
opposed to just a flat phenolic plastic socket.
So they made 4 models. They made 4 models of that Model
Yeah,
30.
I thought it was 3, but you probably know more than I do about these. So 4. So is mine an early one or a late one?
Early, but
Early?
it could have been actually a little bit later too, because he was known for reusing parts. But that would have been considered one of the early ones. It was taken almost directly from the Model 20.
Okay. Okay. It's in good shape. I got to try it out one of these days, see if it plays.
All right.
So, Cliff, I have that video for you when you're ready, when we get enough people in here.
Sure, whenever you think is the right time to bring it up. I thought of all the clock radios, that's about the best one I got.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I don't have any clock radios.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey,
How are you?
good.
Hey, Christian. Hi, Pat. How's Pat today?
Pretty good. So what do you think of the email I sent out regarding the estate?
I'm willing to help identify everything. If you get pictures, but I'm not going to be able to move them and do that kind of stuff. But I'd be glad to help.
Okay. Well, we need to go through the 2 storage lockers in Beaverton first before, looking at the home. So what do you think we should do as far as getting people out to give an honest estimate on how it should be sold? Because Esteban told me that he would be willing to do it, but he's not really a expert on pricing radios, and most of the stuff is going to be older wood radios.
I guess we could look for compatibles. That's the only really way you could do it. If you can see what it's sold for and what condition it is in. But other than that, I mean.
Well, I don't think we're going to have to come up with a list of prices and everything. They just want an evaluation for the estate. And I don't know if that works, if you're supposed to do it high or low from the state. Like if you're supposed to put retail values on so they can write it off, or they want it low because they don't want it to have to be taxes. I'm not sure. But really what they're going to want to do is find out, okay, what's the best way to get rid of these radios?
Did they say probate for sure, or
probate? I think that's the term, probate. I can look it up.
They say it though, because if it doesn't go, then it goes to probate. It means you have taxes to pay. So if there's a will, then it goes to the estate, and then they decide what's going on. So, and then I don't know. No matter what, you probably want the fairest amount you can get, because either way, they're either going to split the value between family members, or they're going to go into a probate thing where they're going to be taxed and then split the value. So.
No, it's not. The sister is the sole person in the estate.
Benefactory.
Yeah, she's the sole benefactory of the estate.
Hmm. And there's 2 storage units plus the house, huh?
Right. There were 3 storage units, but they combined, and removed all the radio related items and put them in and it filled up 2 storage units. but there were 3.
And Cliff's shaking his head.
So Pat, are you estimating that, are you assuming that what you need to deliver has more to do with options for disposal than it does values?
Yes, mostly on what should be done with it. Because the deal is that they're willing to let NWVRS have the entire state and sell it, auction it off, and then give them the proceeds minus a amount that we would ask for donation wise, but that is not the best thing for the family. The family is not going to get full amount. So apparently he had a lot of nice radios. So it wouldn't be fair for us to take all that, and try to auction them off and sell them, because they're not going to get as much as if they sold them at, let's say, McLaren's auction. So yes, Cliff, you're right. It's trying to figure out what the best option for them so the family can get as much value as possible.
And to get through the process.
Right. Because how are we going to deal with 2 storage units full of radios to sell plus a entire house?
Way down in too, right? What is that? That's a good.
What?
How far is Roseburg from Portland?
I think it's 3 hours one way. That's going to be tough.
Who is it that we lost?
Allen Shadduck.
Oh dear, I hadn't heard that.
Oh, I hadn't heard that either.
No, I'm kind of keeping it on low key and stuff because we're still dealing with the estate on what we should do. We'll probably announce it. I wanted to talk to board members first, but we'll probably make a general announcement here soon. What we're looking for is the board's trying to figure out who we should send down to evaluate the estate. And Alan mostly collected older wood radios.
Not true. I have one of his plastic ones here.
From Alan?
Yeah, that Alan brought to a Christmas party where we swapped gifts. And so I have one of his plastic radios here. It's turquoise, but it's always had a hum to it. And but that I haven't been able to locate. But anyway, so they're not all wood.
Oh, that's weird because every time Alan came to the show and sold stuff, he's always had wood radios. I don't think I've ever seen him sell a plastic radio.
Oh, well, it's incredibly valuable then.
So I don't know if you guys have any idea of somebody we could ask to go down and help evaluate the collection, that would be great.
What's your time frame? Do you have a lot of time, or is the stuff just going to stay in storage for maybe a while everybody works through all of this, or are you in a rush or in a bind?
Well, we want to get it done as soon as we can for them, because they want to cut the storage units as soon as possible because they're paying rent on them.
Exactly.
So we don't have
And-
months and months and months, like the sooner the better.
Finally, I'm on.
So Mike, who do you think we should get to go down to the storage units in Beaverton to help evaluate the collection?
Beaverton or Roseburg?
Beaverton, there's 2 storage units in Beaverton, and then there's the house we can wait on.
Oh, this is the first I've heard of it. I could probably go. I've been kind of busy here lately. I went back to work just temporarily today, but I could get over there. What is this? Is this a bunch of estate stuff, or what's the deal?
Yeah. No, it's Allen Shadduck's estate.
Oh, is Allen Shadduck okay, or what happened?
He passed away in December.
Oh,
I got
wow.
a call
No kidding.
I got an email from Carrie yesterday, and I sent everyone out in the board email.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to look at that. I saw that tonight, and then I was trying to get, right when I was just getting ready to get on the Zoom meeting, I spotted that, but I didn't know if that meant that he passed away. Well, that's too bad. I've been doing wellness checks on him the last few months, you know, and but I hadn't spoken to him or anything since, I think it was like November. So that was like maybe just a month before he passed. And that's too bad. Well, I can go check out a storage unit in Beaverton. I'm trying to think of when I can get over there though.
Okay, should I just make a general announcement to see if anyone out there is interested in helping out?
Hey,
Or do you
Pat,
think-
Yeah, but I can get over there and help out, you know.
Okay, we're gonna need probably more than one person to do this, more like
Okay.
probably 4.
hey, Pat,
Yes,
I can go with Mike.
Okay. That'd be
okay, let me
great.
write that down.
That'd be great, Robbie. Just let me know when you want to do it. Because I'm right here, you know, in Beaverton, and so I can go check it out. I'm trying to think of who else that might want to go or that would be, you know, close to this area.
I'm
Robbie, do you
sorry.
live in- Robbie, do you live in Beaverton too?
I'm over here in Happy Valley.
Okay, but it's not too far for you to go?
No, because I
Okay.
used to go over to Mark's place at Beaverton all the time.
Do you
Okay,
need pictures, or are you guys just gonna try to evaluate it, or do you want pictures back?
What happened,
Um,
Pat? I'm sorry.
Yes? Dave, you're on.
I'm sorry, what happened? I came in late. I missed the tenor of the
Well,
conversation.
we're kind of doing a board discussion. Allen Shadduck
Oh.
passed away in December, and so we got contacted yesterday. So I sent an email out to the board members yesterday, and then I was able to, she called in, Carrie, who's the niece of Allen Shadduck, called me this morning, and so we talked about it. And then I sent another email with the findings out to the board members, and now we're just trying to figure out the best plan of action. So we're looking for people who will evaluate the estate.
did you talk to her, his niece, and then what are they wanting to just evaluate the estate? And then go from there. Does she have any plans as far as what to do with this, with the stuff?
No, that's why they're asking us what they should do.
I see.
She is not against letting NWVRS take all the items and auction and sell them, and then give them the amounts minus a little bit for NWVRS involvement, you know, to like help pay for auction expenses. But I told her that that's not the best thing for the family, because the family's not going to realize the kind of money if she just puts the better items on auction, let's say at McLaren's, or, you know, does things through eBay or at Radio Attic, you know, get an account there and do all that stuff. So my recommendation to them is that they take the better items and sell them at a auction house, something that's online, worldwide, or at least US wide, to
Yeah.
get the best amount for their money.
That's
Because
right.
I don't think board members are going to want to go through 2 full storage units and 1 house full of items to auction off. I think there would be a
Well-
riot if we tried to do that.
Plus, you make a good point in that, you know, the members in our club, I mean, and everything else, we wouldn't be able to generate the kind of revenue that they would if she took it to McLaren's or had professional auctioneers do it. You know, if he's got, you know, especially if there's really nice stuff, you know, so that might be the best plan of attack for the family.
Okay, all right. So we have you, Mike, and Robbie. I'd like to go. I've been in communication with her. Please read your emails then of
Yeah.
what's been discussed so far.
I will. I'll check it out.
Hey, Pat, I unfortunately not going to be able to help you for the next 3 weeks. But could you forward me her contact particularly if you have a mailing address, I would certainly like to, I mean, Alan meant a lot to us, and I'd certainly like to
Yeah.
drop her. If you wouldn't mind sending me your address.
I do not have her address, but I will try to get it for, so you want the mailing address?
Well, I prefer that, but I can email too. Either way works, whatever you have.
Okay, all right, let me get in contact with her. What about the club? Liles used to always take care of this. What about sending some kind of flowers or something?
It's a long time. It's been a long time since he's been gone for flowers.
Right, right. So like I said, well, we just found out about this yesterday. She apologized for not letting us know earlier, but I'm sure she's been busy.
Well, Liles, I haven't talked to him. You know, he's kind of been laying low ever since the COVID thing came. And so then that's why I hesitate to and unless he's going to come on tonight, I hope he does.
He's on.
Yeah,
Are
he's
you
on.
Liles?
Fox is there.
Hey, Liles.
I missed who was it that passed away?
Allen Shadduck.
Oh, that's that kind of wow. So
That's a bummer.
In December too.
Yeah.
was it
What?
COVID or something or?
Don't know.
But
Okay.
Alan, I mean, my point is Liles lives right here in Aloha. He lives a mile away from me. And I don't know if he'd be interested in going to take a look at it too. So, but I'll ask him.
Okay, the reason I'm on here is to report I'm going to be gone pretty soon. I had cancer. The cancer has somehow relapsed into pneumonia,
No,
which they can't seem to get
there's
rid of.
Liles.
And so they've been working on all kinds of stuff to fight the pneumonia, but haven't been getting very far. And so I'm kind of sitting in limbo. Right now, they're testing. Well, actually, they did kind of a colonoscopy of my lungs, where they run down with a flashlight and suck things out and try to find something they can fight. Anyway, all the Petri dishes keep coming back negative.
Yeah.
But there are some that take 3 to 6 weeks. Well, hell, I don't know if I've got 3 to 6 weeks. So I'm pretty heavy on oxygen right now. And really don't know where things are going to end up here. Well, we can't lose you. What's that?
We can't lose you.
Well, yeah. A little information that might at least put some funny light on things. I ended up going into ER and I have a port up here in my chest. And that's for chemo. The chemo burns your veins out. And so you can't really use your veins after a portion. And the port actually has a physical connection here, right about here. And then the hose goes up a little bit, down into an artery, right down to the heart. So what that does is allow the material that they're using for the chemo to be in a high flow rate. And so it doesn't sit around and burn things up. Anyway, I go into the ER because I can't breathe, I have real trouble. And they don't want to use the port. They want to put in their own IV. And no matter what I'm telling them, we want to use another IV. So they stick me 3 times. And finally, the 4th one, they got a IV in. Okay, so that IV hurt like hell, bled from the outside. And he used it a couple of days and finally convinced the nurses to get rid of it. And they kept using the port. And then some silly guy comes around. We really need to use an IV in the arm. So 3 nurses, 3 holes in the left arm, 3 holes in the right arm.
Oh, boy.
Okay,
Oh, geez.
we'll call Nick at night. Well, Nick is the expert. So Nick comes in there and one of the nurses comes back. Hey, can you show me how you do it? You know, help me learn it. Oh, yeah. Well, the nurses took about an hour for those 6 failures. So anyway, he's about a half hour into this. And so he sticks me and it doesn't go. Well, that's got to be a letdown. He's the expert, you know. So anyway, he hit me again and that one took. Oh, great. Okay, remember, this is precious. Okay, we got to go backstory here to continue. So they want to do this kind of colonoscopy in my chest. And of course, they got to put me out for that. And they put you out, you know, so that you don't remember kind of stuff. So anyway, they put me out about 2. And I wake up about 6:30 and, well, where is everybody? I thought there'd be somebody waiting for me. So I call the wife at home at about 9. I said, what's up? Oh, well, I talked to you for an hour and Brian talked to you for another 3/4 of an hour. And you said something about how high the cost of food was in there. I mean, I totally missed it. Never woke up.
Wow.
Sounds like they
Okay.
gave you halcyon or something like that.
Okay. 2 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. I'm in a horrible sweat. I'm totally wet. The bed's wet. And I've never been to Vietnam, but I've seen pictures of it. Anyway, there's all this lush green Vietnamese stuff with smoke running through it. And I'm in a big panic. And well, gee, am I in a hospital or? Well, oh, so I push the button to get the nurse and the light comes up on the wall. And I can hear people in the background through the door. Anyway, I finally start yelling, help, help. Nothing's happening. Well, Bruce is getting out of Dodge. He ripped that precious IV out of his arm. Away he went. Anyway, there are ways to pull an IV. That was the wrong direction. I had blood everywhere.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Finally,
Ouch.
There's the guy.
finally, the nurse gets there and she calms me down and sits me on the toilet. I do my thing. By the time I get off the toilet, she's got this sweaty old bed all cleaned up with new sheets. I stood by the sink and the gown comes off. I don't know why they call them gowns, but anyway. And she gives me a bath. hand bath, whatever you call it. And that felt so good, getting all that sweat off of me.
Kind of like a sponge bath.
Sponge bath, that's
Yeah,
it,
bath.
yeah. Oh, man, but what a night.
Holy cow.
Well, you survived anyway.
Yeah, survived Vietnam. Never been there, but I survived it. Anyway, my time doesn't look too long.
But just know you're in our thoughts.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
bet.
For sure.
And I just thought I'd like to let you all know.
Well,
Okay.
But I think for now, I'm going to say adios and take a nap. All
Thanks
right.
so much.
good idea, Bruce.
After that story, it's well deserved.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing, Bruce.
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know, a lot of times I say, yeah, you only have 6 months, and then 5 years later, I have friends that are still around and they're doing fine. So don't, you know, who knows?
Yeah,
Big issue here is oxygen. And
You're on
it has been picking up a little bit, so there may be hope. Yeah. All right.
all
You're on
right,
thoughts, Bruce.
All right.
Okay.
all right, Bruce, take care.
Take care.
Good night, Bruce.
So anyway, Liles, would you want to venture out to go take a look at the stuff with Robbie and I for Allen Shadduck, or?
No, Mike, I think I'll pass on that.
That's
Um,
fine. That's fine. No problem. Um,
Liles,
What?
you used to do this all the time. I know it's not your responsibility anymore, but what have we usually done for the families when a fellow member passes? Do we send flowers, cards? Alan passed away in December, but they didn't let us know this until yesterday.
Well, this is March, so I don't know that we need to do anything for Alan. This is just my opinion. I think if we have if someone passes away timely, we do send flowers. We've sent flowers to the family in the past. You might check with some of the other. Cliff, am I close on that?
Well, yeah, I'm certainly, that's what we've done in the past. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, that's,
yes, 3 months after the fact is probably not, flowers are probably not the appropriate thing. But
I
it's
agree with that.
certainly a heartfelt card,
Yeah.
something of some fashion to be able to let them know how much he meant to us. And
Yeah.
he was a big part of the club. And we all know him.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, am I mistaken? But I thought
I'm gonna
Alan.
miss you, Mike.
also- maybe I'm mistaken, but didn't Alan also have a place way down south, and then he come up to Beaverton? Is that right, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, he
was
lived in
down he was
Roseburg.
down in Roseburg.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
you're right, Mark.
So was Alan a charter member?
I don't know.
He could have been.
I would think. I would think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
It goes back a long ways. I
He
just
does.
couldn't
He does go back a long ways, Cliff.
Just out of curiosity, do you think it might be a neat idea if those are guys who knew him, maybe work with Dick Carmen and write something up for the newsletter? And then, you could say, hey, look, we had some thoughts from the guys in the club about Alan, and we want to share it with you and send the family in the newsletter in a little card, right?
Yeah, actually, a good one to touch base with would be Dan. He has such a great way with words, and
Yeah.
he knew Alan really well.
Yeah, he and Dick both knew Alan really well, and I was good friends with him. But Dan definitely has a good talent for writing stuff like that stuff up.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah,
not.
good idea.
They're not here tonight either, so I don't know if they know then either.
No,
No, I let Dick know, and Carrie's gonna send a eulogy to us when she has the time to write one up.
Okay.
Dan's been trying to contact him, Alan, for the last few months. I know every month or so he's been calling him.
Yeah, I checked the roster, and Allen Shadduck is marked as a C, which I assume means charter member.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
And why don't you, I want to bring up that we were also thinking about before COVID, we were going to make a bench, right? We are going to do that. That's something that we should probably, a memorial bench for Rick Ryan, and then have everybody else's plaque.
Yeah.
And another thing we want to do is we want to make a memorial page on the website for all members, to have a memorial page with a picture. I think that's a really nice thing to do for everybody.
Sure.
So, but that's something that we've been starting to work on. Dan's been starting to work on some of the little bios for each person that
Mhm.
and in the page, just to keep you guys up there. It's just in the progress here. But the bench has been stalled after COVID, right, Pat? And we haven't really been
Right,
able-
right. She has to take it to the board, and the board wants to know exactly where we'll put it, and then they'll vote on it. But we've, had this in the works for a while, but, with COVID, it's been stalled.
But we should now get on it, I think. I think that would be pretty important, and then be able to make a plaque for each new member that demoralize them on our bench.
Sounds good. What about if we bring a card for Allen at the April meeting and let people sign it? Should we do that?
Yeah, that'd be good, I think.
Sure, that'd be good.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
sure that.
Is there a lot of difference between everybody signing it and the secretary just saying from the members of the Northwest Vintage Radio Society? It's kind of accomplishing the same thing, and one is a whole lot less effort than the other.
Yeah, but the effort's noted. I think all the signatures matter. As many as you can get.
I agree with that. I don't know how you get everybody's signature other
Then
You
than,
won't.
other than once a month.
You won't, yeah.
You won't, but it's not like it's timely. I mean, it's been 3 months already,
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Plus, lets everybody know that, he's passed, so they can, they really know that he's passed. So, and that's a good thing, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's something we need to do. You're right, Franklin.
Well-
He worked at Tech for a lot of years. That's where I knew him from.
so is it all right if I show the PSA guys his picture and tell them, because there is some tech guys up there that were down here. So is that gonna be okay, you think? Just tell them that one of our members passed, one of our charter members, which is very important.
I think
That's all right, everybody?
I think it's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. And you all are welcome to come on Sundays if you get a chance to. It's a pretty interesting thing. Of course, it lasted 4 hours, this last one. And Jay wasn't there, so. And it was all just fun too. No board meeting talk, nothing like that. So that was good.
Hey, Vic, how are you doing?
Good.
Anybody want to show the radios? Oh, there's Richard. Are you having trouble getting on?
Well, I was using my phone and it
Yeah.
kept fading out, and I got my tablet this time.
Oh,
Probably work better.
good. So anybody want to show clock radios, or we want to let Cliff do his? He's going to do a little presentation. I'll show.
Oh, and what type of we talked about clock radios as in All American 5, or just anything with a clock in it?
Anything with a clock in it. That's,
I'll start out since I got to get up and do that. See if I can get this positioned right.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's-
the Crosley, I forget. Let me try to get this.
I'll let you go first. Oh, wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got one of those too.
Yeah. It's kind of tall, so
Nice.
Nice.
it's a quartz movement in the so it doesn't have the original sections or whatever it was mechanism. As somebody mentioned about that was a feature that with a power stop that would stop too, I get, and not start back up. And it seems to me that's was in there, but when we got it, it had the quartz mechanism already in it. In fact, it's got one that chimes and stuff. I turned that part off.
So is that a Filco, Mark?
No, that's a Crosley.
Oh, it's a Crosley. Okay.
Yeah, that's, I think it's, don't remember the number to it. But it's an 8 tube, early super head.
Okay. Because
And,
I have one just about like it. It's a little different. I can take the laptop out there and show everybody. I have actually another one, but mine's a Filco, and it actually has a Model 70 chassis in it. And then, but the problem, that's the same problem with that one. It has the one of those shaded pole motors type clock from the early 30s. And I tried working with it, and I cleaned up all the gears and everything to try and get it to work. And I just couldn't get the clock to work. So I may need to go to a different clock works in that part of it to get it to work. So, but the radio plays good. Just getting those clocks to work.
You got your clock there to show, Mike? The little one?
Yeah, I have this one here. Now that other one, I showed that last week. That was that one I fixed the cabinet on. Now this one here is this is my Zenith. And this is like one of my favorite clock radios. And it's red or kind of a maroon in the back. And it's in really good shape all the way around. The chrome, it's got like that plastic chrome front, which is really kind of nice. And the clock works good. In fact, this thing, I let this thing run all the time. I need to go plug it back in so it doesn't lose the time. But actually, I use this thing all the time. And my daughter-in-law needs to go to work sometimes at 5:30 in the morning. So I set the alarm on this dude, and it works just beautiful and wakes me up in the morning so I can get her to work on time. And but I just let the clock run all the time, and it works great. Radio plays good too. So I went through and restored the radio, and it's a nice one. It's got the little AC plug there in the back. I don't know if you can see that right there, so that that was a nice feature of the clock radios of the 50s, they put that on there so people could plug their coffee pots in or whatever, and then have it turn on with the alarm. So anyhow, that's my favorite little Zenith clock radio.
Well, that's really colorful.
Yeah, it's a model C 520V.
Mike, did you polish that? It looks real shiny.
No, you know what? I didn't, Pat. That's the way I got it. And the red part in the back looks really, really nice. The only trouble is on the front, some of the chrome painted plastic has come on or kind of worn a little to where you just see the black that was underneath of it. And I've never found anything to really be able to fix that properly, but it looks pretty good actually overall, other than a few little places like that. But no, I didn't polish it or nothing. It's just the way it is.
Anybody next? There's Pat. You're next. Pat's got a pink one. You got a pink one. Nice.
Yeah, I've got this
There we
pink
go.
one.
Ooh, that's nice, Pat.
Yeah, it's clock radio. I polished it up because it was a little scruffy, but it came
Uh-huh.
out really good. This one
It
actually
did.
had some plastic damage inside the window here. So
Yeah.
I went ahead and fixed it, and I matched it. So it's really hard to tell if was any damage
Oh, yeah.
inside.
That looks very good. Looks very well. Did a
Okay.
good job.
Thanks.
Same kind of design.
I have that other one, but I've already showed you guys that radio, the one that I fixed the plastic on. So I won't show that one again, but
I got another one that needs to be polished. This is another Zenith radio, but
Nice.
I think someone had this, one of these just like this with a clock in it. This isn't a clock radio. but
Right.
I thought someone on Zoom Wednesday nights had one of these that was actually a clock radio.
Well,
No, not me.
definitely a spot for a clock.
Definitely looks like it could be a clock ray or a version of that. That's nice, Pat.
Yeah, it needs a polish.
Well, you're good at that.
Yes, you are.
Where'd you get that one, Pat?
I don't remember. I'm sure from a sale somewhere along the way. Who knows?
Oh, I was gonna tell you that radio that I showed, that the one I just showed you tonight. I got that from Snotter. What was it? I did something for him, and well, I was stored his Spartan and Scott radios over in my garage for a while, and he gave me that radio. It was in pieces, and it was in a box, and it was torn all apart. And he said he was gonna fix it, and then he just gave up on it, and he just gave me the whole thing, the basket case in the box. And so then I went through and I recapped the radio and restored it and aligned it and everything, and put it all together. And now it sits in my computer room, and it runs all the time.
Jeff, what you got there?
This is from the free table a few months ago.
Oh, you got a free table one too. Nice, Jeff.
This is a Filco D738.
Yeah.
Got a really nice metallic dial backing. It's like sparkles when the light hits it right.
Oh, I can see that. Those are cool. That's nice, Jeff.
Praise Jewel.
And then Dan Olson gave me some extra knobs that were missing. And
Were they
what's
the
cool,
big-
like what was Mike was saying, is on the back you have a outlet for a coffee pot or something.
Was that the big knobs you replaced, Jeff, or the little clock knobs?
Little clock knobs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got one other one. I'm not really a clock radio guy, but I couldn't pass that up.
No, that's nice.
How did I miss that?
How'd you miss that, Pat?
I don't know. So Jeff, the clock knobs on that other radio don't look, are they original or are
Oh
you
yeah.
missing?
Okay, so here, let me show you. Yeah, it's almost perfect, but it's not, because if you notice, the one in the middle, let me get this right, as the two on the outside are black, and the one in the middle has gold, but the gold is like a little metallic cap on the end of the black, and the two on the outside, that metallic gold cap came off.
Oh,
So it is the
Okay.
correct knob, but it's missing the flashing.
I see.
Almost perfect. Oh, there's not a single crack on this thing either.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
And then we had that, I don't know if it was an auction, I guess it was an auction where we had the boxes of radios, like, 6, 7 radios all in one lot. This was in there. This is a General Electric. And it's
Oh,
kind of
nice.
neat because you got
That's neat.
a clock here that runs on 110. And then the radio runs on 110 when it's joined, but you can disconnect it and it has the batteries. It's a 4-tube
Oh.
radio with the 67.5 volt B and the,
Yeah.
I guess it's the 1.5 volt A. So on the back here,
Oh, wow.
you have to do two things at the same time. There's a little knob here. You push it. Okay, that knob's down, and then you slide this. Wrong way. Okay. Oh,
Don't
let me
drop
just
it.
do this off. Oh, here we go. Now they come apart.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh,
Now you got your clock radio by the bed, power still running.
Your clock, yeah. And you got a separate
And now
radio.
this is a portable radio, runs on batteries.
Nice.
And I can take the back off real quick.
That's cool, Jeff. I haven't seen anything like that before. That's really nice.
That's probably one reason you don't see many of them, is that people tried to take them apart and they lost a handle grip on them and they fell on the floor and busted. You know, it looks like he almost dropped it too, getting it apart.
So
Nice.
the AC supply is in the clock. And then there's like a little, when they join together, there's a little terminal with four metallic pieces that feed
Uh-huh.
this radio, the 110, or I'm sorry, feed it the proper power supply through those pins.
I see. So as soon as you take it apart, then it becomes just a battery set.
That's the battery, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's cool. I know. Anyway, I have to go. Speaking of my daughter-in-law, picking her up, I need to take off. She's getting off late tonight at 8 o'clock. So unfortunately, I have to take off early. But so nice radios. So anyhow, yeah, I gotta run and go pick her up from work. She's working late tonight, so I gotta get her in Beaverton at 8 o'clock.
Hi, Mike.
All right, well, you guys take care. We'll see you later.
Matt.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Anybody got any more radios to show? Or
Go ahead with that one.
that sounds good. I'll share my screen here.
So if you can hear me, what he's doing is gonna run a YouTube video for me on an Atwater Kent 509. I have one out in the garage, but this YouTube video kind of shows it better.
Oops. I lost it. I had it. Let me go back to history. Just take a minute here.
There it is.
Yep.
It's about 4 minutes.
This revolutionary new device can
Plus, you
remove
gotta
up
have
to
the
10
app.
times more earwax than a traditional cotton swab.
Here, and again, you'll see more of this in the video.
You guys all see it?
Okay, here's the very rare Atwater Kent Model 509 set up in our workshop here. See the extension cord and antenna. We're going to try to get a little video, since this guy is probably one of a handful in the world that still work. Okay, let's see if we can't get this guy to give us a demo here. Okay, you can see that we have the plug from KDKA, one of our famous early radio stations, plugged into 9 o'clock, so we can listen to Fibber McGee and Molly. And you can see that the stop plug, which goes around over here to the off, is plugged in at 10 o'clock, so when it gets to be 10, it'll turn itself off. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, the control is set to the automatic position. And let's turn the clock to pretend like it is coming up on 9 o'clock. Gets to 9 o'clock. It's taking a long time to boot up. It makes me wonder if it's a Windows operating system. Just kidding, just kidding. Takes a while for the tubes to warm up. And of course, it's not going to be Fibber McGee and Molly, but it is going to be the oldest station down here in central Alabama.
Tommy Boy, Bobby Hart in there before that. I wonder what she's doing tonight. Hello. Friday weekend's here. Shannon's on the radio.
Oh, well, never can tell what's going to be on, so
Man, Wolverine.
let's turn this down, and we'll say now we're pretending like it has come around to 10 o'clock at night, and show's over. Funny how it goes all the way to one end of the band and then cranks back all the way to the beginning. Okay, show's over, and it worked. Okay, let's try this again from the back side so you can see this intricate mechanism working. I've taken this cover off so you can see the wheels that set the frequency for which plug on the front, and it's this one right here that is set for the frequency of the oldie station here. Okay, well, let's advance the time, and I guess we're not quite there. There we go. should be warming up. The little tube's glowing there. And I bet I still have the sound down from before. There we go. Okay. Now let's say that the time has come to turn the show off. And there we go.
That's real clever.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
So that video is obviously not great quality. It was made in 2009, I believe, is when he made that one. But it was kind of complete, so I figured you could kind of see the inner workings a little bit easier with that. It's I don't know whether you noticed the little patch cords on the front dial. You've got 7 stations, and you turn the disc to get the station you want. So there's 7 unique discs. And when the time comes, it grounds that plug. The plugs literally pull out on a string. They're spring tension. So they pull it out and you plug it into the time slot you want. It's in 15-minute steps around a 12-hour clock. So you wouldn't necessarily have a 24-hour clock, but you have a 12-hour clock that you can turn on. And then of course, you can turn it off at a particular time. Each of these stations have 2 cables. So you can have it come on at 8 o'clock for this program, then at 8:30, switch over to this other station and come back to the original station at 10 o'clock if you want to. So each station can be programmed in twice with that technique. And then of course the shutoff can be in the middle of all that. It's kind of a cute little contraption. It was built in 1935. I'm not sure how many other clock radios we had at that stage. Some came out in that era, but that one happens to be a 509. They had a 511 that would also fit in there. The 509 being a 9 tube, the 511 being an 11 tube. The 509 was about 6 watts of audio power. The 511 had about 15 watts of audio power. They both used the same cabinet. They did have a remote control for it. The remote control itself is something that it was sort of interesting. You could select any of the 7 stations with your remote control. It's actually sandwiched in between the clock and the radio. That's how you plugged in. It's all wired, obviously. But you never find it. I've never seen the remote control. I know it exists. I've seen pictures in literature, but I've never seen the actual remote control. And I don't know of anybody who has one in their collections at this stage. Not that I know of everyone's collections, but at any rate, I do have a 509. I got it from Ed Gunther back in 2019, I believe. Went down and picked it up at Recreal. It works well, but I've got some cabinet refinishing to do on it before it becomes a display unit. But it's one that's going to stay in the collection. So anyway, that was my clock radio that I thought I'd share.
That's pretty high tech for that year.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Cliff, are they pretty rare?
It's not as rare as he suggested it was, but he was getting ready to sell it on eBay. So, but there aren't a lot of them around. You don't run across them just everywhere. And really, the 511 is kind of the coveted one because it really represented kind of the top of the line of everything Atwater Kent had to offer in 1935, and of course he was gone shortly thereafter. So it really kind of represents the top end of the line. If you wanted everything, it was interesting. It had only one shortwave band on it. It used a, 474 kilohertz IF, which put it up there where it worked really well for the shortwave too. And but he chose only to put the one band in. Now, in reality, there was only one band that was in much use. Many stations were actually available in that band, but it was the lower of the shortwave bands that we had have on that radio. But otherwise, it's got all the features. It's got an RF amplifier. It's got 2 IF amplifiers in it. It's kind of a pretty nice sounding radio, and it kind of represent all the bells and whistles that a hot water can throw at a radio. So,
What did it retail for? Ben? What was the retail
what's
price?
that?
What was the retail price?
It was actually because we're about the middle of the Depression. It seems to me, I'll look it up here quick. I'm going to say $300, but I don't know that for sure. I should be able to find that. I'll look for it and I'll bring it up in the middle of conversation if we want to kind of move on.
Thank you, Cliff. That was neat. Anybody need more show and tell? Nice to see you, Jake. How are you doing?
Good.
Did everyone see the email sent out with Robert Ellis and the radios he has for sale? He's got both plastic and wood ones.
I emailed him, but I haven't got anything back. He's got a Sonora. Where's Myron's not on tonight, is he? He's got a Sonora Brownie on there. And he's in Parkville. Is that right? He's in Prineville, Pat?
No, he's in Lapine, which I think is a drive from here, but I mean, somebody might be interested in going down or buying the whole thing, or I don't know.
It's more than just a drive. It's about 120 miles south of Eugene.
It's about 3 hours one way, isn't it?
Well, Eugene, it depends how fast you drive. How far is Eugene? Eugene's got to be 2 hours, right?
Yep.
At least. So it's got to be 3.5 hours from here. He's south of Lapine. So you go down to, I think it's Bergh, and then you take like another highway off of that, and it's an hour from Bergh. So it's, then you have to go north a little bit.
Can you get there on the Santiam Pass area?
Oh God, Robbie, I don't know. I just was looking at I-5.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna be driving
Yeah,
sort
you
of in
can.
that area on Sunday. That's why I was looking at that, but
Yeah, I looked up. It's 3 hours, 45 minutes from Portland.
yeah, it's and part of some of that road's probably not the best either, right? So
You want to show the pictures, Pat?
Pictures of what?
The radios that he has out there.
Oh, yeah, let me go get them.
By the way, the Atwater Kent 511 sold for $190 back in 1935.
That
That's
was
it?
a lot of money back then, wasn't it?
Good chunk of a new car.
Yeah.
And what did a Model A for, a Model T cost back then? $300 or $400 or?
I think they were $400.
Wow.
Only the
Okay,
rich could buy
Franklin.
'em.
Okay, Franklin, I got them. I loaded the document.
Okay, then you hit share content.
Oop, oop. Where's, share screen?
And then
All right.
then hit the broadcast. Then it'll count down.
All right. Wait a second. Share screen, share.
There we go.
Can people see this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we can see them.
All right. So can you guys read this?
Yeah.
Okay, basically he's got what, bunch of plastic ones.
An RCA 56X.
hmm So
Got a-
this is a brownie. Does someone want that?
Yeah, I do. If it's reasonable.
Oh, he says make offer on the whole thing or, send offers in, so it's hard to say.
Isn't the fire chief, wasn't that one that Estevan had like that? A fire chief? Or was his older than that?
The air chief?
Yeah.
I don't remember. So we'll go down. I want this one right here, the silver tone, the green one.
Okay.
I thought the air chief is kind of cool looking.
Oh, I'll go back up. Air chief.
No, I just said it's kind of cool looking.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the sunburst.
Oh, it's a Jackson Bell. Wow.
That's a cool one.
Some wood ones here. This one's pretty neat.
A 705, huh? Is that a rare one? I don't think I've ever seen one like that, but
I
Richard.
don't know.
Richard, is that a common one? 33 705?
I think I don't know.
That's earlier.
Yeah, this is a straight-sided one. They
Does it
make
look
one that's kind of curved sides and it's got metal inlay on
It kind of looks
This
like it, doesn't it? Or can you tell?
Oh, those metal sets, pretty nice.
Hmm.
That little airline, those have a pretty face on them. It's quite colorful.
And I think this is the bottom here. Here's a radio phonograph.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
Brunswick?
that's probably not going to be a big seller.
The Brunswick?
Yeah.
That's a lot of swirl plastic on that
The which one?
wood, it says, though, doesn't it? That's a wood grain?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe that's like faux finish.
Oh, okay.
This one's got a neat dial here.
We had there was a couple of those at the McCracken that were in really sad shape, really dark. I mean, really light colored. Like somebody started to refinish it. Looks nice.
So Dave, are you going to go down this way?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm gonna be driving by there on Sunday, but I'm actually gonna be driving to Wairika and back on one day. So that's a pretty long day. And honestly, for me, Pat, I swear to God, it's like, this is almost like heresy with this team, but I've got, I don't know, 2 or 3 radios that are sitting out in the garage that aren't working right now. And I got my office area, I've got one radio stacked on top of another. And you go, well, what the hell am I doing that for? I mean, I got enough of that stuff. I really don't need any more of that. I just don't have, my wife doesn't like stuff stacked up around. And so it's just not, we're just not buying stuff. We're getting rid of stuff. I need to finish my conversation with you on that little ICO 950. So I'm sorry, I haven't done that yet.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
So Robbie, how's the radio station going?
Well, it's doing fine now since I replaced some of the tubes in it. And I put a tone stack in it and made the sound a whole lot more bassy. So, and then I got a filter for each channel on the speakers through the audio section. And it's sounding real good. I was out in the parking lot, out my driveway, listening to it on my truck out there. And I get rid of a lot of the distortion I used to have in it by doing some filtering and changing some parts and stuff. So it's doing great.
And you're still a low power?
Yeah, I'm still about I'm running half watt right now. But I'm going to try to get up to maybe 5 watts and see how far it goes down the street.
Is that legal, Robbie?
It is.
So 100 milliwatts is what you're maxed out at, right?
Yeah, but I have my a first class radio license now. I just passed my test today.
But still, that doesn't matter unless you're licensed, right?
Yeah, I have a license now.
No, I mean, the radio station's got to have a license, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you have a license, but it's not like ham. It's not where it's automatically. You have to go to the FCC and get a commercial permit.
You have to get a radio license, yes.
Yeah,
Whole different story.
I did that today. I passed my test today.
Yeah, but that's you. That's not you have to have a station license to put a station on the air.
Well,
And it's going to cost you some money too.
I did that too already. I got my license and the station license both today.
Oh.
You got a station license for well, they would for what frequency and power?
I can run 100 watts on 650 on the dial.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been busy studying for
I didn't know you could do that like that simply.
Well,
It surprised the hell out of me too, Mark.
well,
good.
radio broadcasting is kind of different than ham radio.
Oh, I know that. I'm just surprised that you can get a license for a 100-watt station nowadays. I mean, they must have changed things because that wasn't possible in the past.
Yeah, Robbie, I got my radio telephone license, first class back in, oh gosh, 45 years ago or something like that. What is the class level required now for you on radio telephone work with the FCC for running a broadcast station?
Well, what do you mean? I mean,
well, they have different classes. They had a third class, a second class, and the first class license even back then. I don't know what it is today.
They just have the general is all they have now. General, they replace.
No, it's not. It's not the ham radio side.
No, I know
It's
they
the
have a
commercial.
general radio phone commercial license. They just have the one license now.
Okay.
I had a first class and it morphed into the general radio phone or what license, and it's not required, I think, to operate the lower power stations if they've been set up by a licensed person. I think that they can actually be operated without a licensed person there nowadays.
Okay.
It's all different than it used to be.
Gotcha.
yeah, well, they've taken element 1, 2, and 3 and combined them into one now. It's called,
Okay.
but he said it's a general class license now.
It's a general radio phone, I think. Is what they call. I go look at mine, I guess.
Yeah, it's general radio phone,
Radio telephone, I think is what they call it now.
radio telephone. Yeah. So
In fact, I'll go look just to make sure I'm not misspeaking here.
So Robbie, how hard is the test on that?
it's pretty difficult. I've got a book. It's got 500 questions in it, and they only test you on 100. But there's 2 different tests. There's a element 1 test that has 100 questions, and element 3 that has 100 questions. And element 1 is on all ship to shore boat stuff, about marine stuff. And the second test is all about amateur, or not amateur, but radio broadcasting, transmitters and computers and everything. So
There we go.
Yeah.
Gotta get that to fill the screen right there.
yeah,
How's that showing through?
yeah.
And see, I had I had my ship radar endorsement when I worked at Rogers and working on the radars on the pleasure boats and some commercial boats.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'll show you mine.
Robbie, I wouldn't mind getting that book from you.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Don't ask me why.
I just rather suspect that you have to have that 100 watts or so running in a dummy load. I don't think that it's quite that simple nowadays.
I would think the FCC would just be tighter than a tick on that, you know, that.
Well, they
they'd have
kind of
to
are,
get-
because look at the KISN. That's what, 1 or 2 watts, low power FM, and which that's something new that they used to not allow.
Yeah, Ken Seymour is running that now.
Yeah, right. But that's something that I thought wasn't, that in the past wasn't that hard, it was pretty hard to get to.
Yeah, now here's mine. Can you see it?
I gotta blow my screen up here a second. You gotta raise it up there so it fills your whole screen there, Robbie. I gotta
Proof
find
of
it.
passing certificate.
You see the whole thing?
It's pretty blurry, Robbie. Can you move back just a little bit on that? So.
Go back some more.
National Radio Examiners. Arlington, Texas.
Huh.
Successful past the, what? Pull it back a little bit more, a little bit higher, a little bit back, please. Successfully passed the following.
You'd have to probably National Radio Examiners. I guess it's not done by the FCC anymore, it sounds like.
No. It's a general radio telephone thing there. So,
I'll be damned.
but there's 100 questions on element 1 and 100 questions on element 3.
Is it mostly legal stuff then?
It's what?
Is it mostly legal, like the laws? And
Yeah, these are up-to-date laws from 2022.
No, he's asking what the content is, how many are, it's gonna be a mixture, Dave. It's gonna be technical and
okay.
Oh yeah, they got
regulations and
there's a lot of math, and they're figuring out all kinds of they have questions about transmitter power.
Mhm.
If you have 300 watts and you got 200 ohms, and you got 3 dB loss on it, what's the power out of the transmitter? You know,
Mhm.
all kinds of formula questions. There's 100 of them. And the book I got is almost an inch thick. It's got 500 pages in it and 500 questions. So it's you got to spend a lot of time memorizing 500 questions.
Oh, yeah. Is it on the web too? Do they have a website that basically asks you helps you go through the questions?
Well, yeah, they said there is, but I haven't found it yet. But I have a book, so I don't need to get on the website.
Mhm.
The book I have that I studied has the answers and the questions too in it.
Mhm.
But it took me 3 weeks to go through that book because it's pretty intense. There's lots of stuff in there.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, I still got a headache from it. My eyeballs feel like they're about ready to fall out.
No, you did it though. That's good.
Great. Myron's here. Myron, you have a clock radio?
You know I do.
All right. Came just in time for show and tell.
Well, he was there. There he is.
Nice.
So this is a GE 580 Musiphonic, I think. About 1953. You probably can't see the Connell red numbers on the dial, but which is that? Oh yeah. Anyway, they're on there.
The other side.
Other side.
Yeah,
we
there.
go. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I can see them there.
Yep, they're there.
Yeah. So my mother had not this one, but a copy of this radio on the kitchen shelf when I was a kid. So I was born in 1953. So that's why I got this at a swap meet sometime. And this has a Telecron, clock, of course, because it's GE. And it has a timer and a plug on the back, so you could plug in your coffee maker or something like that, right? And it also would turn on the radio when the alarm went off. It would just turn on the radio. It has an interesting construction. It has a metal chassis covered on top and on bottom, and then there's a printed circuit board, sliced in between the metal tops and the bottoms. It has the tube sockets in it. So the tubes are recessed in the metal chassis. And so it's kind of like it's phenolic, like a circuit board, but it doesn't have through holes in it. They just put some kind of rivets in there and squeeze them and then use them to solder to. It's a pretty weird construction. So I think it's, they were moving towards printed circuit boards, but they hadn't quite got there yet. Because they still had all the expense of the metal chassis and all of that. It has a phono input. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is it kind of like that, like perf board there? You put those inserts into it so you can, like a wire one off of them?
Well, yeah, but it was, it didn't have any, they punched the holes in it that they needed, like
Right.
where they put the tube sockets, and there's even sockets for the IF transformers. And all of that's recessed. When you see the chassis from the top, the tubes and the IF and all that, they don't stick up as far as they should because the sockets are recessed about 3/4 of an inch below the chassis.
Oh, really?
It's really weird. I've never seen it before. And like I say, I think they were just transitioning. So they still had all the components on there that they put through those sort of rivets and then they soldered them in. And it's a strange construction. And also I can't quite figure out, I think you'd have to pull everything out of the sockets to get the circuit board out of it to even work on it, because there's components on both sides. But the weirdest thing about it is the volume control. It has a phono input on the back, because in those days there was those 45 record players you could get. And so you'd plug that into the back of this thing. And then the volume control has a switch in the middle of it. And if you turn it all the way one way, it's the radio. And then mid travel, it clicks the switch and you turn it the other way for the phonograph. And so, if you ever tear up that volume control or have any trouble with it, you'll never find another one because the switch is in the middle of the travel for the volume control. And it's missing the knobs, there were pretty normal knobs on the big ones on this side. But then on this side, there's these tiny little knobs, which include the on off. And there was a 60-second sleep timer, it's like a snooze button. So, if you wanted to have it come back on in 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you turn it a certain, as far as you thought, how much delay you wanted before it came back on. And then it would come back on after 60 minutes or however far you turned it, I guess. But, it's a cute little, it's plastic and it's pretty big. It's just an All-American 5, but it does have the phono and the, the coffee maker part of the timer. So, and they made a version of this without the clock, which was like a 480 instead of a 580. And they basically just chopped off the side with the clock. And so it doesn't even look symmetric or anything. I was looking at pictures of it and it's almost like they just literally chopped off the clock side and, used the same chassis and everything. So
are those numbers underpainted? Are they inside the glass?
Yeah, so the clear the clear part on the front, the face of it has numbers that are like that 3D printed. So there's a white with a black, surround it to kind of give it a little 3D dimension. And then the dials behind, like over here, it says General Electric, and over here, it's just got little dots and things for the clock. But the numbers are actually on the back side of the clear plastic on the front. So it was a, pretty cool little radio. But I remember when I was a kid, the thing always hummed. And I'm sure, it just had bad electrolytics and stuff in it.
Hey, Myron, does that have the glowing numbers or the glowing dots on the clock face? The radium?
I haven't turned it on. I don't think it has the radium, no. It doesn't have a dial light. And so
Looks like the hands are luminous.
yeah, I know what you're saying. I guess I would have to sort of set it in the sunlight and then, come back at night and see if it was glowing, right?
Or just put a light bulb over it for a minute and then
Yeah.
room lights.
Yeah, I don't think so, but certainly could be. It's certainly got this red trim in the middle of the dials, which is kind of interesting. But this was the Musiphonic. It had a little symbol. And GE did that for a while in the 50s, I think.
Yeah, I like the reverse painting. You see a lot of transistors like that have reverse painting on the inside.
Yeah.
Looks nice. They float.
Yeah, it's in great shape. But like I say, I just picked it up because I knew exactly what it was. It's like, oh, it's my mother's radio,
Childhood memories, right?
Yeah. Of course, it probably got thrown out in the 60s sometime, the actual one. Anybody else showed any clock radios today?
I'm gonna bail out now. I'll see you guys next time, next Wednesday.
All right, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie.
All right.
Good
I
night.
think I've shown this one before. It's Zenith, and it's pink. Pink clock radio. The only thing is, it's got some weird cracks right up here. I don't know if you can see it in the plastic. And unfortunately, somebody tried to fix it with airplane glue, and it looks pretty ugly. So I don't know. Anybody got any suggestions on how to fix
Can you
that up?
break it?
Pat, you're the expert on fixing plastic radios.
Oh, that's the one I was looking for. That, I said that somebody brought one in like this, only I was looking for the clock radio version. So I think that's it. You're the one that had it.
Yeah. I think I showed this one before a few weeks
Oh,
ago.
that's what it is. Well, Mike McCrow has successfully taken a plastic set and fixed a crack and painted it, and that came out really good. But yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult to just do the same thing where you repair it and go ahead and sand it all down, make it smooth, and then shoot it with some paint. Did Mike McCrow leave?
Yeah, he had to go.
Oh, okay. Because I believe he used super glue to do it, to glue it together, and then he wet sanded it so it'd be smooth again.
I'd have to find some pink paint. It's it's salmon colored pink. I don't know if you can get a good idea what the color is.
I'm not sure what paint he used, but they do have ones that are will stick to plastic. So you may want to try one of those. They have paint that actually is made for plastic.
He said Rust-Oleum. He used Rust-Oleum on that white one though, but that white was. And then he used super glue with baking soda to make it harden up really quick, so it stayed hard.
And didn't he just squirt it with a gloss, a clear gloss, or semi-gloss on it?
I think he said he put paint on it.
He put a pigment on it,
and then maybe gloss later.
White paint.
Right. Now, the super glue can be used with a combination of baking soda underneath. I do not recommend using baking soda because I've had some issues with painting it afterwards and having some of the baking powder contaminate the paint. So I'm not a big user, promoter of using baking soda with super glue.
Okay.
If you got another,
What's the purpose of baking powder? Could you explain that?
Well, it's a catalyst. So if you put super glue on plastic like that and you want it to dry, you put baking soda and it'll immediately harden. But if you do that, make sure you put the baking soda on the inside of the radio where the crack is, not on the outside.
Because then you get a grit in it, right? In the
Yeah,
parts of glue. You
right.
get pretty glue.
And it makes it really nice and it dries instantly and makes it really nice and strong.
Did you have something to add there? I know you wanted to say something.
well, you can, if you've got another hunk of plastic that's the same color, like part of a broken cabinet that's pink or whatever, you can use sanding paper or file and get some granules off of that. Mix that with a super glue and put it in the missing
Yeah.
spot of the crack, and then use a fine hand file to contour it and so forth, and you might be able to match it, but you'd have to have the same flavor of plastic.
That's
Is
an interesting idea. If I can
Is
find
that
it.
salmon? Is that salmon a paint or is that the real plastic color?
No, that's the plastic. It's embedded in the plastic.
Could you go on the inside of the chassis somewhere and, you know, scrape some,
Find a donor piece.
you know, like maybe, you know, like
Like a
a
skin
lug where a
graft.
screw went?
File some out.
Find something that's not really important in there that has the right color, and then use it as a skin graft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting idea.
Thank you, Richard.
You know,
Once it's all done, polish it up with nose number 2.
nowadays it's getting to be awful hard to find any decent paint. They used to have, you know, you could find a good selection of paint. You go into like Freddy's or some of those now, and they've got nothing but strictly either no paint or, you know, a red and a black and a blue and a gray, and that's about it. But they don't make the good paints anymore like they used to. You know, I suppose.
I know of one really good model shop up here in the Seattle area that has excellent selection of stuff for plastic model and you know, model building. I'll bet they would have anything, you know, anything I could ask for. Well, it's a project. They've got so many projects here, so I don't know when I'll get to this one.
Looks like
Yeah,
my
well, a lot of those, you end up thinking, well, I'll put it on the shelf until I find another one that I can scrap out and put them together and make a good one. And you might have that radio for 12 years.
Well,
You have another one.
I'm not even sure where I got this thing from, but I've had it for about 12 years. And I've never seen another one like it. I mean, it's kind of unusual looking.
Well, I know somebody would buy it from you.
It
So
does.
are they oval or round, the ports on it?
Yeah, they're oval.
Okay, that's cool.
And it has very nice tone. I've never gone in and recapped it, so it probably needs that. No hum. And the clock keeps good time. There's a telecron movement. Speaking of clock movements, let me show you other thing. I've got this clock. It's not a radio, it's just an electric clock. But I really like it because it's an early digital clock, and the digits kind of rotate like this. And it's Seth Thomas, but the damn thing makes this horrible ticking sound. If you turn it on, if you plug it in and run it, it sits there and goes tick, 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 drives me nuts. I've tried to figure out how to fix it, but I think it just needs a new clock motor. Anybody got any ideas for finding a replacement clock motor for it?
Gary, we have a member who specializes in nothing but clock motors. He gave me his card. He's a new member. I think he just joined last year, but I haven't seen him come back to the meeting since, So let me dig that up and send you some info on that. But he does a lot of clock motor stuff.
Do you remember Don Iverson?
Great. I'll try to pull it apart and
He told me one
Say
time
again?
that he'd take the motor out of those clocks and put them in the oven and cook them maybe 180 degrees or 150 or whatever for a while, and remelt all the lubrication that's in them. Because a lot of times that stuff would get mixed. When they put shit together years ago, they didn't know what good lubes were. They had water pump grease and that was about it. And they packed those gearboxes with that. And then if everyone was smoking, so there was nicotine in the air, like the old jukeboxes. That stuff turns into like tar inside, and it'll bog the motors down. That could be what's causing that tick, tick, tick sound. You could try that and see if it does any good.
I'll give it a try.
Sure about it.
Gary, you may want to check with Blake Dietz. I think I remember him talking about a story where he carefully drilled a hole in the clock motor, and then he put some kind of solvent in it to help melt the grease out and then refill it. So Blake Dietz might be also another contact you might want to check with to see if you can fix it rather than buy a new one. Because I imagine a new clock motor is probably pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But try the oven thing too.
I will do it. I've got nothing to lose.
A new clock motor, you probably never find one that would fit, unless they made an exact replica.
Right.
Premium.
Not much demand.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Looks like Myron's got something.
Yeah, I got something there.
Oh, yeah, I just got one more here. And actually, Gary, that reminds me of a clock that I showed once here that was shaped like a TV, but had a similar set of numbers in it that looked just like yours, which I've shown before, so I won't show that one again tonight. But this is the Filco 41KR. A lot of times you see 42 KR5s, which were similar with a different wooden case. But I'd never seen a 41 KR in the flesh. So in 41, they made this one, which was KR means kitchen radio, has a curved bottom to fit on top of the refrigerators. And the 42 models came as a KR5, which had the radio and the clock, and a KR3, which had just the radio and no clock. But the clock doesn't do anything. It just tells time. It's not connected to anything. It just runs whenever it's plugged in. And this is, of course, a McCracken find. But as I say, I've never seen the actual 41 KRs. I guess they were only made for about 6 months. And I've never been able to determine if you had to pay extra for these when you bought your refrigerator, or if they were promotional items that were given away. I kind of think you had to pay for them, because if they had a KR3 and a KR5, then you wouldn't, you'd want to pay more for the KR5. So surely they weren't just giving them away like they were those refrigerator radios, the Westinghouse ones. But of course, this is pre-war, so this is different. The other ones, the 42s had rounded dials, then the case was rounded on the ends. And this clock movement doesn't work. I took it apart to see what's wrong, and there's a gear that isn't staked properly in the plate or whatever. But this was made by the Sessions Clock Company in Forestville, Connecticut for Filco. So it's not a telechron. That's it.
It's interesting that a lot of the clock movements came from Connecticut. Bristol, Thomaston, Seth Thomas, all the a lot of the even the wind-up clocks were made in Connecticut for many years.
Yeah, I think we chased down a clock that my wife had, and it was turned out to be made in Connecticut as well. And we found the history of the plant. And yeah, she said it was in Thomasville.
Mhm.
And we found the history of the plant and how it burned down and moved someplace else in later years and stuff like that. It just seems like it was something that the Connecticut, specialized in doing.
Gary, are you from Connecticut?
Yeah, I grew up in Hartford, and it's just interesting to me. It might have been early Silicon Valley, pre-Silicon mechanical clock valley.
My daughter went to Trinity College.
Oh, yeah.
She's at Yale now, but yeah, she went to Trinity for her first bachelor's.
I used to listen to Radio Trinity College, WRTC, when I was a kid.
Interesting college. It's kind of gothic looking, isn't it?
Yeah. I grew up about 3 miles from there. Not too bad. Mhm.
How's Warren today?
Are you on, I'm still on the mend?
I'm getting better,
Good.
He's feeding out.
walking more, but seems more normal now.
That's good.
You hardly want to talk about that when you see what Bruce is going through.
Oh,
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've done that to me at the hospital. They were trying to find weird places to put those IVs. They even put one of them high in my arm, like up in the shoulder area, because they couldn't find.
I hate needles.
One time it was one session of infusion was 31 folks. But I've got a port too, so. But they don't like to use the ports, just like he says, and they won't take blood from the ports either, which is frustrating. It's like that's what they're for. They don't want to touch them because they only want IV nurses to touch them because you don't want to get an infection there because it leads right to your heart. So
yeah,
goes right into your vein and down into your heart. So, but the idea of that is exactly like Bruce said. They want to disperse all that medicine quickly.
Right.
It goes right into your heart, so it's pumped away really quickly. And when I had IVs, the IVs just deteriorate your veins, just like you said. And the really weird thing is they kind of like move out of the way. They have enough little flexibility in them. They don't want to be poked. It's really funny to watch them. It's like they have a mind of their own almost, right? That needle goes in there and they say, "Excuse me, I'm moving over here."
Yeah.
And then did you know that you have little valves all around your veins too? You got little valves. You wouldn't think that, but they're little tiny valves, and they'll hit those, and it's like hitting a brick wall. They stick the needle in there, and it won't go any farther.
Is that it's like a one-way valve? Is that right? Like a check valve?
Otherwise, you lift the arm, and all the blood would come out, right? I mean, yeah. So you've got little valves that keep everything in there. So,
well, I've been real fortunate that when I have to be poked for a test, they find mine real easy. But I hate needles. I say if you ever find me dead and a whole bunch of needle marks, that it's a frame up or a setup. I never stick a needle myself.
So Mark, you're saying you're not suicidal, right?
No.
Saying I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. That's funny. So anybody want to show anything else? Any show and tell? Any news? Any good news? We need some good news.
Franklin, I found the contact for the Techron motorcycle. I sent an email out to the Zoom, to the Google group members. So it's got his info on that clock motor.
You hear that? Gary watches. He's on the Google group. So He'll get that.
Very good. Thank you. I don't know if this is show and tell worthy, but this is a dust cover to a record player. And
Yeah.
you get Novus 2, and it's cleaning it up really good. It was all cloudy and scratched.
Oh,
I
wow.
could hardly see through it, but I'm just rubbing it in, and it's, I don't know if you can see this area here. Nice and clear. Yeah, this is the area I'm working on. Really does a good job. I'm gonna have to get a bigger bottle.
And you just used 2. You didn't start with a different one and then move up, or?
Well, there's some really bad areas in it, and I'm going to use the 3 on it after I get the 2 over the whole thing to clear up the. It's just totally cloudy, and then I'll put some of the really 3, which is abrasive scratch remover on the bad areas, and see if I can clean those up. But I'm not real thrilled with the number 1. It doesn't really seem to do anything. I don't know if you guys have the same experience. 2 is the best.
Adam was talking on the PRC meeting. He said they were using them for like their test units, like for the scientific units, because the plexiglass would get all scratched up. And he said they only had one. I mean, it wasn't one. They only had one kind that they would use to clean them up. And he thinks they were the grittier one, of course. But he only did so. And he said that the college had them in gallons, I guess.
Well, I've got these little bottles. Number 3, the heavy
That's good
scratch
stuff.
remover, and then number 2 is the fine scratch remover. And then there's the number 1, which I hardly ever use, but it's like water. It doesn't really do much.
I find that number 1 works really good for just that final, I don't know, it's like cleaning more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
But I like that stuff too. Have you ever used like with the number 3, if you have something really gouged up, you put it like on a felt. You can buy those felt things you put on like a Dremel tool,
Right.
and
Like a buffing wheel.
like a buffing wheel. It's kind of a hard white felt, and I've used that successfully on stuff that's pretty boogered up. And,
Haven't tried that.
yeah.
Gary, where's a good place to buy Novus number 2? Because I was told to use that by Jeff to polish your Catlin radios. So what's the
Amazon
best way to buy it, or cheapest way?
Yeah, I don't recall how I got this. It was maybe Amazon. I'll look into it and send in a message out to everybody.
You can look on eBay too.
They sent me a kit. It came with a nice polishing cloth and the 1, 2, and 3. It was reasonably priced,
$25 or something like that.
and it's been lasting me for quite a while. I've polished up many a transistor radio with this, many a dial glass, plastic. It's good on it.
Guys, I think I'm gonna go to bed. I'm getting pretty tired, getting up early in the morning. So,
Thanks, David. Thanks for coming.
yep, nice seeing you guys.
Good talking.
Good talking. See you later, Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Hey, Gary, I found that you can get it at Walmart, 64 ounces for $28.50. But if you buy just 2 ounces, like the little bottle you got, they want $6.23. So maybe we should buy 64 ounces of it and put it in little bottles and sell it.
Oh yeah, you can make a deal, make a profit.
People would be paying maybe, just a couple bucks for the 2 ounces instead of $6.
Yeah, gotta find a source of clear plastic bottles to put it in and bring it to the swap meet.
Yeah, $5 a bottle.
Yeah.
But I can't think of right now, but there's all kinds of there's other things besides the Novus and Marigues, or there's some different brands. Mr.
Mr. McGuire.
Stuff
McGuire's.
McGuire's, that's right, yeah, that'll polish your plastic and stuff like that, so.
And you need headlight cleaners, use those too, right? So
You can even use toothpaste.
Yeah,
Toothpaste.
that's Novus 3. It's just toothpaste.
I think I had some, it was one of the wax companies, it was rubbing compound. And that's another good one too.
For rubbing car paint.
For like rubbing car paint, you know, the old, when you had like old red paint that got all oxidized and you could rub it out and it looks like new. And the old, I don't think you can do it with clear coats, but,
I wonder if the clay bricks would work then. That might be something to try. Deep scratches and stuff.
Where can we get a bunch of 2-ounce bottles? If we put 2 ounces in each bottle at $28.50 for 64 ounces, we could sell 2-ounce bottles for less than $1.
That's a deal.
But where are we going to get 2-ounce bottles?
You're gonna have to pay 50 cents for a 2-ounce bottle or something like that, right?
I don't know. Where am I going to find them? They have to be clean.
Right.
You want new ones, of course, yeah. But they have them because of airplane, you know, to take your shampoo and stuff on airplane. There's a lot of clear 2-ounce bottles.
That's right.
So there's these bottles that I use for flux, solder flux, and you can buy empty ones. And I don't know, electronic supply store. This would be appropriate, wouldn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any more empty ones. So the thing is, there's hardly any hardware, brick and mortar electronic supply stores you can walk into and find stuff like that anymore.
Yeah. That's for sure.
All right, gang. Well, I think I'm gonna fold up here. Looks nice out there in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's not sundown till about 6:45 now. But it doesn't get much later than that for us.
Well, it's later than that here in Seattle area.
Right
It doesn't
now,
go
but
down
I'm
until
just saying
7.
that your daylight will be, or hours will be a lot longer in another month or two than in here. So.
Right.
And then we've been socked in all week long there too. It's finally this has been the halfway nice day today. So it happens.
Oh no, Hawaii never gets any good weather.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a nice evening. I'm gonna sign out.
Yeah, I think I'll sign out too.
I'm about that point too. So.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Okay.
coming.
I'll see you guys later. See you next week, maybe.
Yeah.
Next week.
Aloha.
Aloha.
So Franklin, before you go, we still haven't sent out that new addition to the museum tour in conjunction with having that with the with the renewal membership. So I don't know. I think we can go ahead and do that, send it out, and then remind people that if you're a member, you can have a free museum tour.
Right. And then we'll start doing the calling.
Doing the calling, yeah. It looks like that spreadsheet's being updated. It looks like some people, like Dan has called several people. I've contacted a few, So Robbie said he'd help, so maybe we should give him some as well.
Yeah, sounds good. I sent it to him, but I don't think he does the email very well. I have to call him, I think, and see.
Okay. Okay.
I said him, he has permission to do anything. Anybody else volunteer to do calling?
No, like you send stuff out for requests for help, and of course, no one volunteers, so we get to do everything. So I know that I mentioned it to Esteban. Esteban would really like to go to the Allen Shadduck's two Beaverton storage units. So we've got Robbie and Mike. I know
And
I
I-
want to go because I'm in contact with her. So
Let-
did you want to go too? Because we'd have 5 people there. I don't think that's too many.
I can go take pictures if you want. I mean, if you want to take pictures, otherwise I'm not very useful.
No, you are. See, what Dan and Dick Howard did for the Haugen estate is that one of them manned the camera, one of them manned the spreadsheet on a laptop.
We
And-
got get Mike to come, and he can be my wingman, like we did for Kraken.
Yeah, so you know, you'd be helpful either taking pictures or doing inventory. We really don't have to do an inventory for all these things, because if we're going to just turn them over to let's say McCracken's or someone like that, we don't really have to, because they're probably going to do it. But I don't know, what do you think? Maybe we should have an inventory so we know what would be sent to McCracken's, or maybe we'd have an inventory, because she's in agreement, if we help her out, that she would like to donate some of the lesser items like the part sets and broken ones and stuff to the club. And I didn't know if she meant like donate 100%, so it's the club's 100% donation, or if she just meant that she would donate and we would do the standard 20-80 rule. We would get 20% and she would get 80. But either way, I think our members would be happy, because it sounds like he had a lot of nice wood stuff and a lot of project ones, ones that were maybe cracked or, delaminating or something.
Yeah, because I don't think McLaren's going to want part sets really. unless
No, I'm sure they wouldn't.
Right, and they kind of reject those. But the thing about that too is, what they do is $20. If it's $20 to $50, they take 50%, right? $50 to $100, I think it's 35%. But the ones that don't sell, they get passed, no minimum bid. Then they either give them back to the seller, or they charge you for getting rid of them. So I'm sure that if she goes to McLaren and run the auction, that she'll want the ones, she won't want to pay to get rid of them, and we take them and the part sets that they want. But like you said, I don't think, because they had 383 lots on this last Thursday, they sold every one of them. So everything, and there was no real part sets. So that Catalan, did you see, sold for $950, which wasn't too bad really for that beautiful yellow and red Catalan.
Which one was it? Was it a bullet or?
Yeah, that Feta bullet.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting, huh?
But yeah, all those radios sold. So
okay, so you want to be included too?
Sure. Yeah. If you want me to take pictures, I can't do inventory because I can't write down fast enough. But if you get Mike there to come, Monroe, he's on here, but he's not. Can you hear us, Mike? There you go.
Yeah. Sorry. I just caught my name, Franklin. Yeah. What?
We want you to be my wingman, and when we take pictures again, like we did at McCracken. You did such a good job at McCracken.
Well, yeah. It was a lot of fun. I'll help out.
There you go.
Okay. Well, at this rate, we've got like 6 people showing up. I don't know if that's going to be overwhelming or not. Okay, I'm going to write your name down if we need you. It's hard to say.
Yeah, let me know, Pat.
Okay, we'll do. So one thing we probably need, which we probably might not have, is someone to bring a laptop so that we could enter it via spreadsheet or Word or Excel or something. That might be, something. Franklin, do you have a laptop?
I have a laptop as well as an iPad that he could probably use. Yeah, you can type it in.
Does it have like a full-size keyboard or a usable keyboard?
It's a full, it's an iPad. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you could actually type like this.
Yeah, kind of. It's small for little fans. Some people do. I can't, but.
Okay, like I say, it may not be necessary to have all those people, but it'd be better to have a good crew rather than too few people, because it would be
And we'd have to take them one at a time and put them on a table and put them back in there if we're going to take pictures of them. But if you just want to do a kind of a gross amount of just kind of count them, maybe.
Yeah.
Then you really, so unless we really want to do that, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think we would probably need to do pictures of it necessarily, but it might be interesting. I don't know. What they're asking for is an evaluation so they can use that for probate purposes. So meaning that, okay, your collection is worth X number of dollars. And the next, after that, after we tell them what we think it's worth, then we go to, okay, what's the best way to divvy them up? And I'm suggesting that we take all the stuff and sell it that doesn't meet, let's say, a auction house criteria.
So we kind of really sort it. So that might be one thing to do, is go through and sort it. I mean, because I'm sure that they just piled them on top of each other, or piled it together. Unless it's all going to be, part sets and medium grade stuff. But that might be the way to do it. Start pulling everything out and then sort it, and then put the good stuff in one, and then the medium grade stuff in the other, so that they know this is what we think is good stuff. You'll sell good at McLaren's, and this is what they'll bid on coming and getting it too, because they do charge for coming and getting it. They charge $1 a mile, and they might go up because of gas, but usually right on their contract right now it says $1 a mile, and then they charge $20 an hour per person to do the work, to load stuff. So.
Well, that's where we might help out, is that we could, as a team, we could help them load it. And then in return, we get all the stuff to auction off. And then the club gets, X number of lots of, part sets, speakers, chassis, knobs, et cetera, that we can auction off and then pay back. So it's just going to be tough, because how are we going to find, 6 people that are going to do this without getting paid in terms of radios or wanting to buy stuff at a discount?
Right. I mean, because it's a lot of work, that's for sure. And it'd be ideal to do it all at once, wouldn't it? Be able to load it, pull it out, sort it, load it, and then take it to McCracken's. That would be the way to do it. With all those people there, don't you think? I mean, that would save a whole nother step or a whole nother series of doing it. So.
Okay, well, I could suggest that maybe it would be a good idea for us to take inventory, so that we can help with the estate auction. Like, we can give McCracken, okay, here is 300 pictures of lots of radios, and maybe that would help them, and they cut the cost down for the estate.
Their pictures all look like they've been taken in a studio. So they take their own pictures, I'm sure, that they're all, and that way it looks all uniform, and then they can send it up in the auction all uniformly. So I'm sure that, and then they have to, because the problem is they mislabel stuff a lot. So what they're doing is they're just processing it through. So they're not going to use any other pictures other than the ones they get to their studio, because also they have to resort it, right? So they'd have to figure out which one's which one goes to which, and that would be more difficult than just to bring it in. Once they get it in, they process it and take pictures and have the numbers all set up, and then they probably put it in a place to store it so that they can pull it out and deliver it to people when they come and buy it. I think they have their own process of doing that. But again, we could save them quite a bit of money if we deliver it, So if that's what they have to sign a contract and figure out what they want to do with McCracken, or with McLaren. Yeah. So that would be probably the best. That would be the best course. Maybe just have you and Esteban go and look at it and say, well, we think it's this much, give it a rough estimate, because that's really what they want, right? And then later on, have all 6 of us go and then sort it, because that's going to take a while. You figure even 2 storage units, it's going to take a while to do that. I mean, and a lot of work.
I would prefer to have somebody like Mike McCrow along with it, because I don't know if Esteban and I are that good at estimating, because, if I look at stuff, I say, well, I think that I'm realistic. I say, well, if we sell this in Portland, it's worth $10, but if we go on McLaren's, it's worth 50. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just giving you a sample of something like that. So I still think the first shot down there, when we open up the 2 storages, is we're going to want a lot of people, like 4 to 6, Because if we have to move everything out, move everything back in, just to separate it, like, okay, this is McLaren, this is potential, donation to NWVRS, I think that would be a good way to do it. But I think initially we're gonna have to come up with a dollar figure, so we can't remove anything until a total has been given.
But I'm saying, Pat, is if we're gonna go to the trouble of sorting it, we need to move it too. If you're gonna sort it, if you're gonna touch it, the least amount of times you touching it is gonna save you a ton of time and effort. So if we're gonna sort it, we could sort it and take it to McLaren's at the same time. And if they have to, you know what I mean? Because then they would have an idea of what's going on. I think they're gonna want kind of a view. They're probably gonna come and see it and figure it out, McLaren's themselves, if they're willing to take it on, right? I mean, they contract for them to sign and that kind of stuff. And it sounds like there's pretty enough good radios, but you never know, right? You haven't seen any pictures or anything like that, right? One chapter, just group pictures. That would give us kind of an idea that, are they all airlines, or are they, are a few airlines, or is there some, nice Zeniths in there and stuff that bring a lot of money?
Yeah, I really think we're gonna need 2 trips. And that's because that way we can, because you have to remember, it has to go through probate. So if we come up with a figure while we're loading to McLaren's is not going to be able to auction until it passes probate. And what happens if there's a contestant or something like that? McLaren's is not going to want to store, 500 to 1,000 radios for free.
No, they're not going to. And you're sure they're going into probate? So that means the state is going to be involved?
No, I'm not sure, but they have to do something for the lawyers. We have to come up with a figure for the lawyers. Besides, even if it's not in probate, what happens if someone contests it?
If she's the benefactor and the sole benefactor, then it's all her thing, as well as she is power of attorney, right? I mean, that's
Don't know. So okay, those are good questions. In other words, I have to find out if it's probate, if she's the sole benefactor or the executive estate, all that stuff. And those are questions. But you understand what I'm saying? If we touch the radios and load them up, and there's an issue, that might not work out so well, because I think there's going to have to be a time between a figure given, they turn that to the attorneys, and the time when they can be released for auction. But I will definitely ask that question of her.
Because that would be that, that right there will know if there's going to be an issue about things. If it's going into probate, that means the state is involved. So the state is going to determine what and who gets it. If she's the benefactor or benefactory, she's in charge. If she'd have to have attorney, power of attorney, and be in the benefactor of it, and then it would be all up to her. So unless she's separating it for other people, that would be given an estimate. But then she just wants a rough estimate, and then later on that could be changed with the auction, because nobody knows what the auction is going to bring. I mean, you can guess, but that's a wild guess, basically.
Yeah. So if we're going to do if we are going to do an estimate like that, we're going to have lined items like Excel spreadsheet, lot 1, Zenith, 520 radio, wood, et cetera, $50. Then we're going to have to total it. So we're going to have someone with a laptop and, experience.
And again, if you take pictures, and we're really, really diligent about it, because we're going to need more research. A lot of those won't have model numbers on them, or they'll be scratched off, or we won't even know what they are, right? So we're going to have to do research on them, see this is so-and-so, and kind of stuff. And also come up with a price, look at eBay and look at different places, auction sites that where it's sold at. So you are going to need pictures of every one of them if you want an accurate estimate. But I mean, you're talking about a lot more work there. You're talking double work then, basically.
Right. I don't think we're going to get out of making at least 2 trips to the storage units, one for evaluation and one's for loading. And loading could be to McLaren's or to us as well, because we should probably pick up the items. If we get them donated for our auctions, we're going to need to pick them up. We can't expect her to deliver them.
Is that an estimate of 500 radios? Is that
No, I don't know what 2 storage units plus a whole house full. I guess that's low. Maybe it's more like 2,000 to 3,000. But don't quote me on that. Maybe the storage units are 5 by 10.
So yeah, it would be helpful if we just had basic pictures of her. But she's down in Roseburg too.
No, if we do the Beaverton storage units first, the mom will come up as well as the daughter, meaning, Alan's sister and her niece will be there at the two Beaverton storage units. But the house, that's three hours plus away, right? Or 3 hours away.
I would say a good 3.5. Yeah. Plus, you're gonna have to stop. It's gonna be a 4-hour thing. So that's a day travel time only. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mess.
So you're only gonna do that once.
Yeah, and that's a mess too, because if they do one auction at McLaren's, that means they're gonna have to make 2 stops.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Again, their auction sites, the most radios they put up is right around 400. I haven't seen many over that. So I don't know if that's what they do at a time or what, but most, like last time it was 383 for that. And there was about, I don't know, a dozen radios. That's about it.
Okay, sounds like we got some work to do.
Yeah, I would ask her that kind of stuff, or ask her if they have a picture of it. Ask her the size of the thing. Ask her to estimate how many radios are in there. I mean, is there 100 radios? Is there all consoles, or we don't know, right? It could be all kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah.
The more information, the better. And then like you said, it might take 2 of us, but I just think you're just kind of like burning up time when you're doing it twice, basically. When you pull them out and put them back by sorting them. That might be the only accurate way to. How accurate does she need? That's one thing we need to do too.
Okay.
I mean,
gotcha.
You know what I mean? I mean, you need accurate, like 50% accuracy, or but if we could do it in one trip, that would be the best way to, or one serious time there, because even if there's 500 radios there, that's going to take us all day. I mean, plus some, because we've had that experience with McCracken, I remember. So, and then plus sorting it, this goes there goes there. But I know there's some things we're going to improve though. Like we take pictures of every radio and we make sure that somebody's putting numbers on it, and then somebody's taking pictures, and then somebody's writing them down. That's the best way to do it. And then we could process them quickly, and then the rest of the people walk through and take it through. And then you should probably give you guys a rest. When you guys want to rest, you could sit down and put stickers on. Take one person out of the group and rest, and sit down and just be writing stickers, putting numbers on everything. But so there, we could do it more efficiently now than we did at McCracken's, that's for sure. And that's the thing, because I was trying to do 2 things at once, and then you get talking about it and then decide which one goes which way. And we don't want pictures of this, and we don't want pictures. So we should number everything, even the junk stuff, and just so we don't lose a picture, and then make sure we take pictures of everything and make sure somebody's putting numbers on, and I could just be taking pictures and concentrate. That one's there, that one's there. Instead of being all excited about a radio and not forgetting to take a picture of it.
Right. Yeah. What we could do then is we could get, like, I could stick a number on it, put it in front, and another guy could also do that same thing. You take a picture of it, and Esteban and Mike will have 2 lists, and they'll alternate. Mike will have the odd numbers 1, 3, 5, and Esteban will have 2, 4, 6. So we put a radio out there. I stick number 1 on it. You take a picture. Mike writes it down. We put the next one out there. I put 2 on it. You take a picture, and then that goes to Esteban. So he writes in the make, model, number description of number 2. So we have 2 lists. One is all odd. One is all even.
Well, Mike was fast enough to write the numbers down, so I don't think we need to do that. But we need to sort them. Junk radios and radios for the auction. So Mike was fast enough to have the numbers. He was, and you want to keep the numbers in order. So there's one even list. So separating would be a bad idea, I think. And then later on, go back and say, this was a parts radio. This one goes there. And they could do that as they leave. But when we're making a list, we need all the numbers and everything listed. And we learned that in McCracken's when we were trying to decide, well, is this going to go to the free table, or is this going to go on auction? And that messed us up a lot, because we were just making that decision at the time. We're taking pictures, and then Mike was like, do I write it down or not write it down? And that was even more frustrating. It'd be better if he wrote down everything, and then that was everything inventory, and then we can we can separate them later when and we're sitting at home or whatever and decide which one. But we can also decide as we put them out, you know, this number went that way, that number went that way. And Mike can do that with like a little check mark. This is junk radio, this is a good one, or this is an auction radio. And then we stack them up by number, you know, in the other one. But I'm saying that it would be best to do it only handle it once and put it into a truck, and that way it's ready to go, right? Or put it in a truck, or maybe put the part sets back into the other set. But we need the inventory list. We need a record of what we've got. And that's one thing I think both me and Mike learned when we did it, is we can take the pictures and stuff, but we can't put the numbers on, and we can't decide whether the radios should be junk or not. We should be the ones just taking pictures, and he should be just writing things down. And that, I think that would make it smoother. What do you think, Mike? You think that'll work like that better?
Yeah, I think so, Franklin. I think you brought back some memories of some of the frustrations that we had, but yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other ideas? Because I think that way that'll work. But we really want to handle this stuff only once. The least we handle it, you know, the less gonna be it. Otherwise, we're like, you know, and if we can coordinate it that way, that would be much better than a whole nother day doing it. And that was one thing with the McCrackens is, you know, if we could have probably done it all in one day if we just if we ran through that. Where we were making the problem, I think, was when we were deciding which goes junk, which one goes not. And then later on, even if we said go in an auction, it got over the junk pile. So or vice versa. So, and that really screwed us up when I came to making the list, right? And he wrote down stuff, and I use a character optical character recognition software. So it figures out all his writing, and then so that's pretty easy. I just got to go back and check some things that it misinterpreted. So that makes it pretty easy once he writes them down on a list. And I don't think, Mike, can you type or can you write faster?
I think I can write faster.
Yeah, I think so too. I think most people can write faster than they can type, and especially when
if I drink a lot of coffee.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. So I'll let you go. I gotta go. And then I will formulate all the ideas down and send it out to everyone involved, and, you know, talk about, we discussed this Wednesday night and this is our thoughts.
That sounds good, Pat. Hey, thanks a lot, you guys.
Oh, and thanks for showing up, Mike, and, you know, helping out.
Yeah, you bet. It's always fun.
You betcha. All righty. We'll talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.
All righty. Bye.